Welcome to Fantasy Football Court. We are four regular guys talking all things fantasy football. Unlike some other shows, we only talk about fantasy football. We make our arguments, we present our cases, and you are the judge. We are all in the same fantasy football league. The people are real, the league is real, and the trash talking is real. Court is now in session. Welcome again to another edition of Fantasy Football Court. My name is Charles.
My name is Andrew.
My name is Nick.
And this is Jeremy.
Today we're going to put the Chicago Bears on the stand and we're going to examine them and look at all the positions as far as fantasy football goes and see what we can determine their value at each of their positions. Before we get into the actual positions, we're going to give a brief rundown of what our initial thoughts is of the Chicago Bears. I'll start with Andy.
I'm scared of the Bears when it comes to fantasy football.
Yeah, I'm not.
They've made some changes this year, but I don't think that's going to help them.
No, I'm pretty much agree with what he says. I'm not so convinced that the Bears are going to have anybody that I'm really going to try to go after. Any thoughts?
If their offensive line improves, they could have some decent options.
Crowded. Two quarterbacks you got to worry about. You got to figure out who's playing. You got two running backs that you got to figure out who's going to be doing what in that thing, and then three wide receivers that you don't know who's going to be throwing them the ball.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and break down the position of quarterback. As you know, if you watch these episodes, we take each team and we look at each of the positions as far as fantasy goes. We even get to the kicker and defense. We may not say much about them, but we do cover them. The quarterback here, we've got Mike Glennon and Trubisky, kid from North Carolina.
No Sanchez?
Don't forget about Sanchez.
Sanchez, I don't even think he's going to make the roster. That's just my opinion. But I just don't see Sanchez. Man, he has bounced around the league. He's not really been a consistent player anywhere he's been. But I'll go ahead and let Nick start on this.
Well, Sanchez is the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart right now. Trubisky's 3.
Yep.
So if that should tell you anything.
I don't see Trubisky doing anything.
I think if they can protect Mike Glennon, he's not that bad of a quarterback. One year he started with the.
Anytime you have to say not that bad of somebody, you know you're in trouble.
Well, the year he.
None of us want him on. None of us want any of these players on our teams.
The year he started with the Buccaneers, I think he started for like a year and a half, whatever. He kind of stayed hurt. That was because they had a woeful offensive line. I think one year he had the most stats. He had like
4,025 yards passing, 29 TDs, 15 interceptions.
And it was like 57 sacks.
I don't have that stat.
If I looked at it, it was either 57 or 47 sacks. Either way, that's a high number of sacks. If they can protect him, he's a good quarterback. If they can protect him, I think he could run away with this quarterback competition. And you could see biggest benefactor, Jordan Howard. So, and you could see Cameron Meredith. So they have some potential there.
Thoughts on the quarterback, Jeremy?
I think Mitch Trubisky is probably the most overrated player drafted this past draft. I think that was the worst, but will be the worst bust of the draft. The thing about Mike Glennon that shocked me, this has nothing to do with fantasy football or even football, but did you know he was 6'7"?
That's like 6'5", 6'6".
That is a massively tall quarterback.
Yeah, it is.
But you know, Glennon, I guess, has potential, but I'll let him be somebody else's potential, not
Well,
mine.
he also goes against Detroit and Green Bay's defense 4 times this year. So,
Yeah. Thoughts on the quarterback?
No.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be wanting Jay Cutler back even.
It was a surprise to me. I remember watching the NFL draft, and when they picked Trubisky and moved up to get him,
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
after
What?
they just signed
Let,
Glennon and
let me
Sanchez,
ask you this, and
What?
this is crazy, I know. But if a team like Chicago, let's just say the wide receivers start showing out, the running backs are playing good, the defense is going real well. Do you think week 2 or week 3, somebody like the Bears, that they do have weapons and tools, maybe makes a phone call and reaches out to a Tony Romo?
wow.
I don't see it. I don't think Tony Romo's coming out of retirement for anything.
But the point being is they may try to go after somebody if they feel like there's enough supporting cast
They've
around
got
them.
talent,
Yeah, that
but
could be.
I think, if everything's working right, if everything's working right,
They
the
just need a game
quarterback's got to be
manager.
doing something decent.
well, to a certain degree, but you can tell if your wide receivers are open and the quarterback's not getting them the ball.
Yeah.
Jeremy, that's your thoughts on the quarterback?
Oh, I would say avoid for fantasy.
You don't want any of these guys.
I would be perfectly okay if I didn't have a Chicago Bear on my roster, period.
Yeah. What about Jordan Howard? Late maybe?
I'm just
He's
scared.
their main running back.
I know, but I'm just scared of what he's going to lose to Jeremy Langford.
No, I think Jordan Howard's. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to the running back. Let's stick with the quarterback right now. I want to ask Andy. Any thoughts on the quarterback?
I do not have any thoughts on that right now.
Yeah, we're none of us are very high on him.
I would take a late round flyer on him. If the quarterbacks I like are gone there in the 17th round, I
You
still
take
have a
who?
quarterback
Who?
too. I would take Mike Glennon.
Oh, Mike Glennon.
Yeah, I would not.
So
I would not even.
You see Glennon starting the season,
Yeah.
and you see Glennon being their main quarterback
If they can,
right now.
if they can protect him, yes, I see him run. I see him as a full-time quarterback.
All right, let's go to the next
I
position.
might be the only one.
Well, look, if you're a starting quarterback in NFL, you have some fantasy value at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a bye week or your main quarterback goes down or he's out for a couple weeks and you need a fill-in, and Mike Glennon is going against the Green Bay defense or going against some of these other defenses that aren't very strong, he may be somebody you want to pick up and play for a week. But, man, if you're going into the season as Mike Glennon as your main quarterback, I think you just forfeited your money. I really do. I just don't see you having a very good team. All right, let's look at the next position, that being running back. I'll start first with Nick on this one. What do you think of the running back position?
It all goes to the, offensive line. I think they improved their offensive line. Now, how well do they gel? But Jordan Howard didn't have much, everybody, that's the biggest question mark with him is, he don't got nobody to take no pressure off him with the quarterback and stuff. But, he wasn't any better last year, and look what he put up. So I think, I like Jordan Howard this year. I think he's that late first round, early second round pick. I would take him.
I think, well, if you don't take him, somebody will at that point.
After looking over my notes, I'm thinking Matt Forte 2.0 maybe?
Wow.
Same thing. He's going to catch the ball. And so I'm seeing some projections that have him as high as projecting 40 catches out of the backfield. That's huge in PPR leagues.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I do think Langford may take some goal line touches, some things like that away from him. I don't know. It's always, anytime a running back takes over the starting position from another running back, there's always fear the next year that something could repeat itself. If a tweaked hamstring, some small little injury, something. But I do really like Jordan Howard. I got to give him a shout out. He graduated Gordondale High School, where my kids go to school, so a little bit of local ties there. But I would not have a problem drafting Jordan Howard in round 2, round 3, worst case scenario.
Thoughts on Jordan Howard?
I like Jordan Howard. I just don't like the Bears.
Yeah.
But
if he's there,
he could have a good. Last year he ended up showing he did pretty good. Matt Forte in the past.
He's gonna have to get some passing yards to take some pressure off of.
He had one touchdown last year receiving, and he's not projected to get much more than that. But
to me, he's not really a big receiving threat, or they wouldn't have brought him.
No, but they're gonna have to. He's gonna have to be that option though.
He had 50 targets last year.
He did, yeah. But
granted, he only caught 29 of them, but he had 50 targets.
That projection's.
You got to figure who was throwing him the ball too.
Yeah.
Throwing the
and
ground.
I think it wasn't until like week 3 where he really was the main guy.
Last 13 games of the year, he averaged 20.2 touches per game. You gotta love that.
Yeah, that's carrying the load right there. All right, any final thoughts on the running back before we go to the next position?
I like Jordan Howard.
All right, let's look at the wide receiver position. I'll start first with Jeremy on this one. What are your thoughts of the Chicago Bears wide receiver corps?
Cameron Meredith, I had him for a few games last year. I don't think I played him much. I do think that there is room for him to be halfway successful, but you still got to be nervous of quarterback play. Yeah. I don't care if you line up a wide receiving core of Megatron, Jerry Rice, and some other great wide receiver. If they don't have a quarterback to throw them the ball, they're going to be subpar. So I'm not really sold on Cameron Meredith, Kevin White, who hardly can stay healthy most of the time, struggles in that category. And then Marcus Wheaton, he struggled at Pittsburgh to be at great. And if you can't be great with Ben Roethlisberger passing you the ball, how are you going to be great with Mike Glennon passing you the ball?
What are your thoughts on the wide receiver?
Mediocre.
I don't really see anybody that
Stand out.
stand out. I don't see anybody I'd really want to have on my team. I think Kendall Wright has an opportunity to play. I think Marcus Wheaton, has got an opportunity, but again, it's going to come down to the quarterback play.
I think no doubt about it. Cameron Meredith is their number one option. They had no tight end, so I mean, Cameron Meredith. Can Kevin White ever lived up to his draft status? He cannot stay healthy.
No.
And I mean, every year they think he's going to be breakout, but he can't stay healthy. So. But Cameron Meredith, if Mike Glennon gets going, he could have a big year. So there's some potential there.
All right. Any more thoughts on the wide receiver? I don't think any of us are very high on them as a group. Maybe Cameron Meredith may be the highest of that group. All right. Let's move to the tight end position. I'll start with Jeremy first on this. What are your thoughts on the tight end position?
Again, the word crowded comes to mind. You got Zach Miller, got injured last year, was having an okay year, but they did draft this year Adam Shaheen, I guess is how you pronounce it, in the second round. I think
That's
was
pretty high for a tight end.
I think they got him in the second round. So, I just have questions. Best case scenario, both of them would be maybe a tight end 2 or tight end 3, but most leagues only play one tight end, so I wouldn't worry too much about them.
Thoughts on the tight end?
Deion Sims needs to stay healthy to block for Jordan Howard.
Okay. Thoughts on the tight end?
No thoughts on their tight end.
None of these guys are going to get drafted in your league or ours. All right, let's
I don't
go.
know. We got a guy that might take him.
Yeah, we do have a tight end hoarder. Yeah. I can't remember what he drafted, 4 or 5 tight ends.
5 tight ends.
I don't know. It was a bunch, man. It
It really hurt me though, because
It hurt
I
me
usually
too.
wait till the
I
end to
waited
draft the
too.
tight end, and I was having to look.
That's Zach Miller.
I was having to look at players that I didn't even know were on the roster.
Yes, because this guy
For my
was
tight
hoarding
end.
tight ends, and we're not going to mention any names. He knows who he is. But hey, if that's what you want on your team, you want a bunch of tight ends, and you can only play one. Needless to say, he didn't make the playoffs. The next position we're going to look at is defense. Any thoughts on the defense, Nick?
Not really. They about the same as last year. I don't really see them improving much.
Jeremy, thoughts on defense?
First 4 games of the year: Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Green Bay.
I don't want them.
Yeah, I would avoid that. Then they play Minnesota and Baltimore, which are okay. Then they come back with Carolina and New Orleans again. Then they have a bye and play Green Bay a second time. So they do close the season pretty favorably with Philadelphia, San Francisco, Cincinnati, Detroit, Cleveland. But I would stay away from them in the first half of the year, because those first 4 games, you don't want to touch them.
Thoughts on defense?
No, I don't want him.
Yeah.
They're on the bottom of my list.
I don't want them either. All right, let's look at the next position, that being the kicker. Any thoughts on the kicker?
Connor Barth. He seems to be an okay kicker when they give him the opportunity to kick. The problem is they don't give him the opportunity to kick very much, because they're not in the red zone very often. That might change this year, but starting off the year, he's not even an option for a fantasy kicker.
I don't think so. I don't think they even make it across the 50 most of the time.
Nothing.
All right, let's give our lasting thoughts on the Chicago Bears after we discussed it. And did you change your mind any? Is there anything after we talked that made you still don't want no Chicago Bears?
I do not want any part of
Jordan
the Chicago
Howard,
Bears.
maybe?
No, I'm not even really big on him. Depends on where he falls.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to go before I'm happy with him.
I would take him in round 3
I would
every
too,
but
day.
he's gotta go
Possibly
before that.
round 2 if things fall right, according to who's available around
It
him
depends on who your
and
first
who
pick
I got
is.
first round.
Right, but I'm
If
not super excited about
If I got the first 3 picks of the draft, and I got one of those 3 running backs that's going to be at the top of the draft, and he's around when I pick it round 2, I would probably take him in round 2, because combining Jordan Howard with Zeke Elliott or a
David
Le'Veon
Johnson.
Bell or David Johnson
You don't think he's going
would
to be
be
available?
awesome.
No, he won't be available there. He's going to go late first, beginning of the second. I'd like to take him at the beginning of the second.
So, okay, wow. Is there anybody else on this team that you...
The reason he's so high on him this year is because he's not going to get burnt by him the
There you
second
go.
time.
I understand. I understand. Is there anybody else on this team, though, that you feel like you'd like to have other than Jordan Howard? Nobody? I don't.
There's always
I
Mark
mean,
Sanchez.
I wouldn't mind having Cameron Meredith at the right spot.
Okay.
just
But
joking.
you're taking a late flyer
Just
on
joking.
it. though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as you can tell, we really don't feel a whole lot of love for the Chicago Bears like we do some of the other teams. But if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything you'd like to ask us about, hit us up on social media.
Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All of the handles are at FF Court.
Avoid the Chicago Bears.
Dog! Dog! You really just lit up.